So, yeah, good morning, everybody. As everyone's starting to get on to MPI this week, we've got Cody Beckett joining us again. If you were on last week, I was in Vegas doing some shooting with the company, but I watched it afterwards, and it was just an unbelievable job, Cody. We appreciate you getting on and sharing with us. We promised everybody we'd get you on the pre-show to continue that conversation and help us out. So I'm going to turn it over to you, buddy.
Sounds like a plan. So I was asked to kind of go through just kind of Morningstar, maybe a little bit on the calculator side of things. So that's really what I'm going to talk about. I've always used Morningstar as an educational tool for myself to start with when I was early in the business, and I didn't really understand, the markets and people were always saying, oh, I invested money and I lost money and all this kind of stuff. And so through a whole course of events, this is kind of where all this came from. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll just walk through this. All right. Just gonna move some stuff around. On POL, we have some great tools. And if you just go to POL, click products down in the investment tab here. And over on the left-hand side, all the way to the bottom, there's the top Morningstar. And you've got it for both US and Canada. I'm Canadian, so I'm going to do the Canadian thing here. But Hypothetical Illustrator will allow you to run basically any investment fund that you have access to. And you can see all the historics on it, right? So we're gonna open this up and we'll go in here. I'm going to walk you guys through kind of how to set up Morningstar because it does come defaulted to a certain extent. This is just loading here. Here we go. If you go into new illustration up here on the left-hand side, this will pop up a window. And this is the window that you can throw in your investments and see where it goes. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a bonus here on dollar cost averaging. And this is how I figured it out. And it was kind of cool. But just up here, you want to update your preferences. And I can't remember or recall what the preferences were when I first started, because I've already updated that. But under general, pick your language, currency. I think it normally defaults, even on the Canadian side, to US currency, but you can change that from Canadian to US. Change your language, English, French, whatever that looks like. Under the buy tab, when you first put your very first investment in, it will give you a trailing period. And you could change this. You can change it to default so that any investment you throw in, it automatically defaults to a 10-year track record, right? You can change your allocation by Canadian dollars, US dollars, or percentages or shares, however you like to run your reports. I like to run percentage just because it works easier that way, so forth, so on. And then you can go through kind of the buy, sell features and whatnot. But on the reporting options, one of the things that I like to set up here is selecting the benchmark. The benchmark on the Canadian side, I set to the S&P TSX composite. That's basically the composite index is the benchmark Canadian index representing roughly 70% of total market capitalization on the Toronto Stock Exchange. On the US side, you're going to have something similar as well. Once this is all set in here, just click save. And then that saves your preferences. So every single time you log in, you don't have to redo all your preferences. All right, so we will click save there. And now I'm going to, sorry guys. There we go. Now I'm going to enter a fund in, and you can enter a fund in by name or by fund code. In this case, I'm just going to use a fund code, and it will bring up a fund code here underneath the population tab. If it doesn't, just hit search, and you'll see it over on this side here, right on the left side. Now I'm just going to click the class fund, go add, it's in here, and that's just adding the funds to the platform that you're going to run. On the buy tab, remember in the last screen that I showed you the trailing 1 year, it's allocated by percentage, the $10,000 max. You can change all this around. Let's say you've got a client that, if they invested $20,000 in this fund over 10 years, what would that look like? That will give you that number. You could just hit generate report. I'll give you an example here. We can kind of walk through this morning. Brad, you can cut me off whenever. This will open up the kind of the PDF here, and you can see that over a trailing 10 years, the funds performed at 13.2%. This is the I'll just leave it at that. This is this fund. You can see year by year what the returns are on this fund. Now, you can do this for any single fund or any investment that we have access to or our clients currently have. Let's say you're sitting down with a client and they've got money over at a different firm, you want to say, okay, let's just do a comparison. What has your portfolio done over the last 10 years? Even if the client's only been in there for 2 years or 3 years, let's see what the fund, managers have been able to pull out of this fund versus what you're currently going to put them in. So it's a great visualization tool, right? Now, here's something that this is the bonus material for this morning. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just go back. This is American Fund. I'm going to go back to 2000, which is going to incorporate some of the worst years of this fund. And this is where I was educated on dollar cost averaging and the power of a pack on your investment. Now, if I were to show you, Brad, you can just nod, but if I were to show you a fund that over the last 23 years has done 4%, you'd say thumbs down. Right? You'd say like, that's no fun. Okay, that's exactly right. And this is why when I sit down with a client and they say to me, Cody, if I just give you like $5,000, if I give you 20,000, or if I give you 50,000, just see what you can do with it. I say, nope, not happening. And I'll tell you why. I mean, I can take your money, but that's not going to get you financially independent. I want to have a game plan. I want to set you up on a pack, because this is what if you're hiring me to work for you, that is my goal, right? I really have little interest in just the money that comes across where it's like, here, let's just play a game and see what you can do, because you'll see why here in a second. So let's go back here under the advanced buy sell tab. You can actually add packs to your hypothetical here, your portfolio. So in this case, let's say we add $100 a month. So we start out with 10,000, we add $100 a month. Let's generate that report here and see what that looks like. Well, we've seen here now that the rate of return over the 23 years has gone from 4% to 7.4%, almost double. And that's just adding a $100 monthly pack, right? And this is why when we sit down with clients and we set their FIN number, it's not just, hey, let's invest a lump sum today, never invest anymore, and then you're going to be financially independent. Most people don't operate that way. Most people operate, they got to set up these packs and add packs. But this is the reason why. When the markets go down, they're buying more. If you go to the grocery store and your favorite box of cereal is on sale 50% off, you don't run out of the grocery store screaming, thinking that the grocery store is going up in smoke. No, you buy 2 that day, right? Because you think it's a great deal. Sometimes you might buy 3 or 4. Now, let's just back up a little bit. And let's say we add $500 a month to that portfolio. Okay, we'll generate this report. I know I've only got about 6 minutes left, but we'll generate this report. And you can see that the rate of return has nearly hit 9%. And so this here, I went through an experience where it forced me to dig deeper to find out, why do we add packs? Is this whole investing people's money, is that a good thing for them, right? What's the client going to experience? And that's where by being able to sit down at the kitchen table and show a client the reason that they are investing money for their future, and how, as the markets go down and as the markets come up, what that's going to look like over a set period of time. It's a great educational tool for you guys to use. Now, on the last MPI call, and actually, I'm just going to pause here. You can increase this upward adjustment. So let's say the client says, well, I want to increase that at 10% every year. You can increase it annually, monthly. You can play around with all these parameters inside Morningstar, and it's a great tool to use. Now, on the report option page, if you guys have never used this, if I'm sitting down with a client, I'm going to actually put a name on here. So let's say we call this growth client. If I can spell correctly, I'll put the client's name in, my name, so that when let's just say we do Bob and Sue here, Bob and Sue, prepared by Cody Beckett. I'll just throw that in here. So now when you hit generate client report, you can print this off or take this on a device or whatever, but now you've got this great, front screen or front page, presentation page, that's the words I'm looking for, to present to your client. Okay, now in order to make kind of all of this make sense, the other side of things that I'm going to do here, I'm just going to leave this one and I'm going to go into a different page here. So you guys should be able to see this FIN number. Brad, thumbs up if you can see that. Thank you, sir. Morningstar makes a lot more sense when you have a client game plan, right? And so just to give you guys an example, let's say we're sitting down with 2 30-year-olds, they each make 100 grand a year, so that's 200,000 total. But if they were to retire today completely debt-free, they feel that they could live on $150,000. They got 35 years to get to 65. We show them an index chart, we run the calculations, we know that they need $500,000 to live a $150,000 lifestyle. at 65, or come 85, they need almost $1 million. Okay. Now, when I go back into Morningstar here, let's see if I can bring this up. This is just a different fund. I'm just looking for track record more than anything, or time frame. You can enter all of this in to Morningstar. So let's say you've sat down with this couple, they've got $50,000 already saved for their retirement. Okay. Let's say, and what I do here is I'm going to go to a customized time period. This fund's been around since 1960, but if I just do some math here on the side, we're 2023. If a client is 30, they've got 55 years till 85, right? So then if I just backdate this to January 1st of 1968, this is as if the client is 30 years old in 1968, January 1st. We're going to show all the money going in. We're going to show all the money coming out, just to show it all on a big page, right? Under the advanced buy sell tab, there's a drop down menu. Normally this will say invest, guys. Hit the invest blue hyperlink, drop down, you'll see a custom tab. It's kind of hidden. Once you see this custom tab, you'll bring up a graph that shows all money that can go in or come out all at the same time, right? And so let's say here, we do it this way. We say, okay, so, and I haven't done the calculations this morning, but let's just say we've sat down with a client and they need to hit their FIN number, whatever that may be. They need to save, $900 a month. So let's just save $900 a month from January of 1968 to December of 2002. We'll update the grid. This shows all the money going in. We know that when the client reaches 65, they need that $500,000 to a year to retire on. So now we're going to change it to a withdrawal. We're going to take out $41,666 a month. That's your $500,000 a year. And you always got to change the end date first. So we're going to fast forward this to November of 2023. We're going to start that January of 2003. That takes us from 65 to 85. We're going to increase the amount of money that we take out every year by 3.5%. That just keeps up with the index chart inflation. Hit update grid. So all on one page, you can see money going in. You can see money going out. The differences here is you can also show an annual increase of the PAC money that they put in. If they say, yeah, no, I get a 3% wage increase every year, so we're going to increase our PACs every year by 3%. You can play around with all of those numbers. I haven't actually run this yet, so I have no idea what this is going to look like, but it's going to give us a great idea, right? And again, this was one of these things that when I sat down with a client and the client said, well, why do I need to save X amount of dollars? Or why do I need to, save that $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 million? I wanted to be able to show that. And so in this scenario, we can see that, okay, January of 1968, they had $50,000 and they're adding that $900 a month, which is 10.8. As they add money in over a 35-year period, the new investment in is $428,000. We can see that on here. I'm going to go down to the year that they would turn 65, which would be 2003. They come into retirement with 5.8 million, not quite enough to fully retire in our markets, but that's $500,000 a year that they take out at 65. We increase the withdrawal by 3.5% just to keep up with inflation. And we can see right here that their $428,000 investment through the years, they were able to take out $9.3 million. In this case, 2003, 13 is 10, 11, 12, 13, about a 14-year retirement. So obviously we would have to invest a little bit more, but that gives you guys an idea of the big picture of how you can sit down with a client. You can see here that for 50 some years, they average 10% return. And this just shows money in, money out, but just some tricks there, I guess, or tips with Morningstar, how to use it, how you can incorporate it into your business, how you can use it as a tool to educate your client at the kitchen table. Brad, back to you.
Wow, Cody, that was incredible. So what a powerful tool that we've got included in our POL fee. I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar software program that gives you an edge on all of your competitors, and you don't have to pay anything for it. It's unbelievable. So Cody, I'm looking at that going, for the newer people that are on here, maybe that haven't dived into Morningstar yet, what would you suggest? Should they get in, play with it, run some hypotheticals? you know, go out and pick up a portfolio and put it in, what would you suggest as far as them starting to use this tool?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even know really Morningstar existed until I was making money, because I was just, in front of people booking the appointment. The way that I've always looked at everything is, kind of as a need to know basis, but get a problem in front of you first. So go pick up a portfolio so you have something to compare to, sit down with your RVP, find out what you have access to, and start playing around with it. And I can guarantee you guys, you will show more value at a kitchen table than any other advisor out there. I kid you not.
Yeah, perfect. Great job, buddy. And we could do a whole, an actual whole MPI on just what you went through today. So awesome job. Hey guys, we're gonna get right into our show. But that was.